Welcome back, guys. In this tutorial video, I would be taking us through what variables are. And I understand that this concept is new to a lot of us, and which means we might be hearing some new terms um, as we move along this tutorial. I just want you to keep um, an open mind, and before the end of this video, I would try to do justification to all the terms we would hear. So in this video, we'll be defining what variables are. Likewise, we would also talk about um, how to declare and also assign values to variables. Likewise, we'll talk about changing the values of a variable. Also, we'll talk about multiple assignments to variables, and we'll also talk about single assignment to a particular, to set of variables. And finally, we'll talk about the best practices for naming our variables. So before we begin this tutorial, this video, I would want us to create a folder where we'll save all the files we'll be working with throughout the course of this series. So to do so, I want us to go to this file, and once you get to file, you see open folder. Click on open folder. Once you get there, you can save it anywhere, but I like to keep my work in the desktop directory. So once you get to the desktop directory, now create a new folder, and you can see Python series. Now click on select folder. Now here we can um, trust the we can trust the author. Yes. So what next? We'll be working on variables, right? So how I'm going to be naming all my files for this tutorial will be the name of the video. And in the previous video, I told you what the Python extension ends with. So the name of the variable dot what dot p the name of the video dot py. So in this video, it will be what variables dot py. Good. Now, before I start with what variables are, I want to introduce us to something, and it is called the print function in Python. Now, we'll be using this print function a lot. Yes, I know I've not explained what a function is at all to you guys, but I want you to bear in mind in, I think, our sixth or seventh video, I'll be walking us through what functions are. So just stay focused. Now, while we're using print statements, we want to see what we are writing in our program on the console. So, which means we'll be using print statements for the meantime. Yes. So, for example, I want to print my name. So, I want to print my name. Uh, also want to print um, a number. Let me say 12. Let me say I want to print um, the name of this country, Nigeria. So now we can um, print all of this in our console. And how do we do that? All we have to do is open terminal. You see, terminal, open terminal. Then from the previous video, I told us how to run a Python command in terminal. What do? We just type Python and the name of the file we want to run, variables.py. And if we do this, can you see my name 12 Nigeria? Now, I would explain all of this. Yes, all of these are values. My name is a value, 12 is a value, Nigeria is also what? Is also a value. Now, in Python, all of these values have a data type because Python implicitly dictates its data type. What do I mean by implicitly dictates its data type? I mean that you don't need to specify that this is a string or this is a number. Python do it for us automatically. Unlike some other programming languages like Java, we have to explicitly state what data type we are working on. Python is a bit different. It also dictates its data type. It implicitly dictates data type. Now, in this case, now you see that I can also print my name with a single quote. Now, in Python, both single quotes and double quotes act same way. So you can see the same thing. So if you see me using single quotes or double quotes, take note they are the same. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be using double quotes all through. But one thing you should take note of is that we can't use a single quote and a double quote on the same value. Can you see? It's going to what? Throw an error. So is either we use single quotes or we use what? Double quotes all through. Now, what I want to do, I want to explain with this concept what variables are. Now, in Python, to declare a variable, all we need to do is we give the name of the variable. So in this case, the name of the variable name is equals to value. So what will be the value? My name. Whatever is on your left hand side is considered as the variable, and whatever is on your right hand side is considered as the value. Now, to a variable, we have two things: the value and the variable itself. And what is a variable? A variable is a container. Now, take this as a container. For example, in mathematics, you can say x is equals to 2, x is equals to 5. X. Why are we saying x? Because x is an unknown. The value of x can change as our mathematical calculations what change. The same thing as variables. The word variable, it means what? Something that can what? That can change. So which means the values can what? Can change. I can have my name as this. Let me print name. And I can also say name is equals to, let me give my own name, Demeji. And let's print this. Print name. Now, what do we expect from this? What we expect is what we expect is my name, the first value of name is my name. Later, I change the value because it's a variable. A variable is something that varies, that is liable to change. Because I changed the name from what? My name to what? Dimeji. We expect that this should what? Print what? Name. So if I run this file, I would have what? From the first set of program name, print 12, print print my name, and print what? The image. The name here has what? Has changed. This is as simple as what? What variables are. And variables are not just limited to strings. They are also what? I can use what? Numbers. I can use any value you can ever think of. I can do anything. I can print anything with variables. For example, I can say I can store anything to a variable. Variables are stores. Do you understand? So I can say x is equals to what? 2. And let me print what? Print x. If I run this program, you see x is 2. Then I can also change the value. I can say y is equals to what? 3. I can print y. Now, the importance of variables, currently we might not really understand what variables are. Reason: when we start working with functions, we would really see the importance of variables when we want to pass values into a particular function, or we want to use a function over and over. Then we'd really appreciate the importance of variables. Now, moving on, I want to explain a concept, that is assigning multiple values to variables. Now, for example, look at this case. I said x is equals to 2, y is equals to 3. What if I do this? X comma y is equals to 2 comma 3. Python can allow us do this. Now, in this case, the value of x would be 2 and the value of y would be 3. So which means I do not need to do x is equals to 2, y is equals to 3, provided they are what? The same what? Data type. Now, if I want to do this, what if I print this same value? I should have um same thing I had before. Can you see it? 2 and 3. That is, in this case, we are assigning what? Multiple values to multiple what? Variables. Now, we can't have what's the name? Assigning um see, if we try to do this, let me print this. The value, I think you can guess what the value is. I've not explained this concept. This is in this form called tuples, but soon I will be explaining the the concept of tuples. So again, because I have this as what x comma y, the value of x would be what 2, and the values of what the value of y would be what 3. Again, if I run this, yes. Now, one last thing, I want to explain the concept whereby we can assign multiple what's the deal? We can assign a single variable to multiple a single value to multiple variables. For example, I can say x is equals to y is equals to z is equals to what? 10. Now, what does this mean? This means that what? X is equals to 10, y is equals to 10, z is equals to what? 10. If I print the value of x, y, and z, print what? X, print what? Y, and what? Print what? Z. I should have what? I should have 10, 10, 10. Now, that is what? The importance of what? Of um of using one value. So take for instance, I want to have 10 values, all of them having, 10 variables, all of them having the same what values. I don't need to go through what's the name? Go through by saying x is equals to 10, y is equals to 10, z is equals to 10. All I just have to do is what? Once I want to assign, I can assign what? All the variables to just what? To just one. I can assign a single value, to all what? To all the variables. Now, finally, in this tutorial, we'll talk about how or what are the conventions of naming variables. Now, in English, we should know what conventions are. Conventions does not mean if you don't do it that way, it won't work. But it's just like a standard format for as a programmer, if I see your program, yes, I understand better when I see a particular convention, unlike you using what different conventions. Now, in this video, I'll be talking about 5 different conventions. Now, the first rule or the first convention is that, so let me call it rule number one. So, rule number one, the first thing is the variable name should be combinations of what? Letters in lowercase or uppercase or digits or an underscore. Let me explain that. For example, let me say I want to declare a variable called my name, right? Now, it becomes so cumbersome to read my name. So what do? I can say what? My what's the name? Um I can say my underscore name. Now, this um so I can say my underscore name is what? Meiji. It's a combination of what? Lowercase character, right? Combination of what? Lowercase character. Likewise, I can have a combination of uppercase character. Now I can see my underscore what? Underscore name equals to what? Dimeji. Sorry. In this case, when we are naming constants, can you see? When we're naming constants, we use what? Uppercase. What is a constant? A constant is not a variable. Well, it's a container that the value would not change over time. In this case, the value of this variable would change, but in this case, the value would not change. Once it's declared, its value cannot be changed. Understood? Now, likewise, the third or the second rule, when you have two or more distinct, which I just explained here, the same thing here. When we have two or more words, we separate them with what? Underscores. For example, my name, this, right? Um, so let me say I want to have name of my city. Can you see? The name of my city would be what? Let me say Lagos. Instead of me saying name of my city, for example, saying name of my city, this is bad. It doesn't mean it is wrong or it won't work. I said what conventions are the other time. It would work, but it's very, very unreadable. I can't read it. But with this, it is easy to read this variable because they are separated with what? Underscores. Name of my city, which is what? Lagos. But in this case, it is what? Bad practice. I do not want anybody to do this because this becomes an unreadable what? Code. Other programming languages have their own convention, but for Python, the best convention is what? Using what? Underscores to separate what? Names of what? Of a variable. Now, also, never use special characters when you're naming your variables. Now, what do I mean by special characters? There are special characters in Python, and they include at, they include exclamation mark, they include pound sign, they include a dollar sign, they include the percentage sign, um, and others. Also, ampersand. Now, let me explain this part to us. Yes. So let me say I want to name a variable called my name, right? I can say my underscore name, right? Then I want to do pound. It is what? It is bad practice. Never name a variable like this. Or I want to say my name at. Never name a variable. Can you see it? It's throwing like an error. Never name a variable like this. Or my name um exclamation mark. Never name your variables like this. Finally, the last rule. The last rule is never start the name of a variable with a number. So let me say I want to name a variable my name and I start it with one underscore my underscore name. It is what? Wrong. Never start a variable name with what? With one or two or any number per se. Do you understand? So these are all the rules for a variable. Let me recap everything we've done today. Again, we started with what? The print function. And I said in some coming videos, we would be walking through what the print function is. And also, we started with variables. And I defined variables as placeholders. And also, we moved to explaining how to assign values to variables and why it's necessary to assign values to variable. I showed you this, and also we moved through changing the values of a variable. For example, in this case, the first value was name, my name. Later, the value changed to what? Dimeji. Now, also, we also spoke about assigning what? Multiple values to multiple variables. For example, we have 2, 3, and X will take 2, Y will also take what? 3. And likewise, we talk about assigning a single value to multiple variables at a time. That is, we move, like for example, X, Y, Z equals to 10, which in many cases we would have done X is equals to 10, Y is equals to 10, Z is equals to 10. But in this case, we just have to do X, Y, Z is equals to 10. And finally, we spoke about conventions of naming variables. And in this case, we we talked about 5 different conventions. First, we talked about your variables should be named in either lowercase character, uppercase character, or in numbers. And also, we also spoke about sorry, I said 4 conventions, not 5. I don't know why I keep saying 5. Also, we spoke about naming variables and naming constants. You capitalize all the characters of a variable, sorry, of a constant, while that of a variable is in lowercase. Also, we spoke about what's the name? Separate every word in a variable with an underscore. Do not join. This is bad. This is bad. This is good. So, for example, name of my city, Lagos. Name of my city, Lagos. This is the first on line 30 is more readable than the one on line 32. And also, we also spoke about never to use special characters when naming a variable. For example, at, pound, ampersand, um, um, exclamation mark, etc. And finally, we spoke about never to start a variable name with digits. We can append digits at the end of the variable name, but never start a variable name with digits. In the next video, I will be talking about keywords and identifiers in Python. So, in Python, I mean. So, I like to see you in the next video. Do enjoy your time and do not fail to reach out to me in case you have any blocker. Thank you very much. See you next time. Code.